The divine masculine today is really standing at the edge of a soul altering decision. He's no longer going to be running from this connection, is what this feels like. But is he actually really ready to choose that love over fear? Divine feminine, I do feel you are deeply rooted in grace, in compassion, and self love. And so you're no longer chasing. You are attracting from a place of divine radiance. You know your worth, and you are letting your heart lead you forward. But we got a hiccup here, guys. The truth is rising to the surface in these energies today. The masks are falling. This connection is moving into a timeline where nothing can stay hidden. Transparency is going to be key to these unions. And so let's dive deep into this powerful portal of truth today because it is asking for soul aligned actions. And these energies are amplified by some pretty major astrological transits. Are you ready for today's message? If you are, hit that like button and let's jump right in. Hey, everyone, welcome in. It is Laura, and we are going to talk about these astrological transits playing out today for the Twin Flame Collective. And so the chart that you guys are seeing on the screen is actually the Pluto square Lilith transit taking place. And so this transit is the first transit that's going to be playing out today. And this happens right before Venus enters into Aries. As you can see on the chart, we have Venus here at that 29th degree, 29 degrees, 46. We've got Pluto sitting in that 12th house. We also have Lilith in the 8th house. And as you can see, the ascendant is sitting at 0 degrees Pisces. And so I'm actually feeling this transit pretty intensely as a Pisces rising 12th house Aquarius. So let's break this down. Let's talk about this energy because the astrology today, I do feel, is really affecting the whole connection of the Twin Flame Collective. And so we've got these two major transits here that we're going to have to unpack. And I do feel this is really significant, right? So let's first talk about the Venus entering into Aries because it is sitting at that 29 degrees, which is very significant when it comes to astrology. A 29th degree placement is considered an analytical degree. And so this Venus entering Aries is pretty significant, right? Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac, and we've got that karmic degree attached to the final sign of the zodiac, that final karmic degree. And so Venus today, I want to say, is ultra sensitive, right? Especially in Pisces. Super nostalgic, idealistic, and I do feel connected to that spiritual unconditional love. It's an energy of sacrifice. It's an energy of spiritual union. And when Venus crosses over into the 0 degrees Aries, there's this dissolving energy, and it's going to shift from dissolving into asserting. And so this really is a reset energy, a rebirth energy for the divine feminine, for that goddess of love, where the divine feminine transforms from that goddess of love into the embodiment of the warrior self. And so I feel the divine feminine is working on completing a very deep karmic review, right? We had Venus retrograde for 40 days. We're still not out of the post shadow retrograde energies. And so this karmic review has been around, what do you really want, divine feminine? What do you actually value in love? Because you've probably needed to face themes of surrender, letting go, fantasy versus reality, and that spiritual disillusionment, right? And so these energies are pretty potent. And so with all of these energies, as you can see in the chart, sitting in the first house, I do feel a lot of transcendence in these energies. I do think a lot of the feminines are transcending the old timelines. And this is really a lot of spiritual disillusionment where the divine feminine finally takes her power back once Venus enters back into Aries. And so this really is a bold step into sovereignty, right? We're no longer waiting We're no longer chasing. We're no longer going to sacrifice in any kind of relationship. This is where we ultimately choose our self-divine feminine. And so this really is a powerful energetic portal that we are walking through today, and the other energies playing out are really pushing us, right? And so you might need to walk away from connections. It might be behaviors, it could be an illusion, anything that has really delayed this alignment with your highest truth, your highest path. It's like when Venus enters into Aries, it's this cosmic permission slip. That's what this is, in order to manifest the reality that you really want, right? Not the one that you've been tolerating, not the one that you've been just, comfortably numb in, right? And when it comes to the divine masculine, I kind of feel this is going to jolt his system. This is going to shift and jolt his energetic and his cellular system. That's what's really is coming through, I feel, for the masculine. He might feel a sudden sense of the withdrawal of the divine feminine's emotional availability. It's almost like the energetic presence is being removed, which is likely going to trigger the divine masculine needing to face his own desires versus that fear, right? He's probably questioning, do I chase her? Do I give her space? What if I lose her? And so this transit is going to stir up a lot of impulsive actions. I do feel jealousy. There could be a sense of competitiveness coming up for the divine masculine, especially if they are still holding on to power and control dynamics, right? And I do feel this really is going to show the masculine where they've been passive on the journey, right? Because the masculine is the energy to take charge. The masculine should be in the pursuit of the feminine, not the roles reversed where the feminine is in the chasing role. And so the Venus and Aries energy, I feel, is demanding the divine masculine's courage to take action and to fully step into authenticity. And so we're kind of entering into a new cycle in the twin flame dynamic. And so we're kind of in this portal of karmic cleansing, right? Anything that kind of happened over the weekend during that Mars-Pluto opposition, that's kind of opening up a clean slate now, especially with the powerful shift of Pluto square Lilith. And so there's like a shift in the twin flame dynamic, a shift in the attraction, a shift in the polarity and the magnetism, with the divine feminine now radiating that fiery independence. The divine masculine is probably going to be pulled out of that indecisive state. And so love can no longer be passive, right? This is going to require a lot of initiative on both the counterparts ends, okay? And so if you are looking for more weekly guidance through the lens of your own personal zodiac sign, make sure to join the channel membership. I do go live every Thursday at noon, and I do pull cards into all 12 zodiacs. As you can see, I've not been doing zodiacs this month. I just don't have the time, as I'm also working through these very deep collective energies. And so especially now more than ever that I'm stepping away from monthly zodiacs, if you really want to fully align with your mission as a twin flame guide, or a reader yourself, or to just understand specifically what needs to come through for your zodiac sign, join the membership. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can be a channel member. And I do go live, and it's interactive. It's just a really fun place to be at together in that soul family energy. Let's go a little bit further here with Pluto and Aquarius, because we do see that Pluto in Aquarius square Lilith in Scorpio. And like I said, it is happening in the 12th house and the 8th house. So let's just zoom in on that a little bit deeper, right? So we see Pluto here in the 12th house, and we do see Lilith here in the 8th house. So this is pretty significant. Still in that square aspect, we can see to Mars, and then we also have that connecting to Priapus along with Pluto. And so there is this energy, I want to say, of the planting of the seed coming through. Okay, that's really what this feels like for me. We've got the shadow feminine coming through, we got Priapus coming through. And so there's a very intense shadowy square, right, between these two significant archetypes. And Pluto rules transformation. Pluto rules the death and the rebirth cycles and all of these power and control dynamics. Whereas Lilith represents, I want to say, the exiled feminine. She's all about rebellion. She's all about unapologetic truth. And so this square energy is creating the friction in order to bring all of these suppressed emotions to the surface, to face the power struggles, to face where we've been repressed in our sexuality. It can trigger rage. It can bring all of this shadowy material to the surface for that transmutation. And so with that recent connection to Mars Pluto opposition that took place on the weekend on April 26th, I do feel this is a highly charged, explosive energy connected to that. And so any conflicts that surfaced around control dynamics, desires, or ego battles, this square, I want to say, is almost like a follow-up, because it is happening at the exact same degree and orb as that Mars-Pluto opposition that just took place on the weekend. And so this really is a follow-up, helping us to integrate whatever came up, especially around empowerment, our personal autonomy, and this emotional sovereignty. And so divine feminine, this is really a second opportunity for you to fully walk away from anything that disrespects you, that diminishes your light. This is like a cosmic mirror energy coming through for the divine feminine. Are you still tolerating breadcrumbs? Or are you ready to burn it all down and rebuild that new solid foundation? Lilith and Scorpio, I do feel, is bringing all of this deeply buried emotional truth to the surface. And this is going to bring that sacred rage into the light. The sacred rage is a part of the journey for the divine feminine. So you are being invited to reclaim back your power and say no more. I will never settle for breadcrumbs ever again. I know that personally. And I'm sure many of you are in that same energy, right? And so it's kind of like a death moment for the divine feminine, but not the death of the self, the death of the masks and the roles that you have played to stay safe in connection with relationships, okay? And so the divine masculine, I feel, this Pluto square Lilith, is asking him to confront his own guilt or his own shame connected to these buried fears about true, authentic, emotional intimacy. And so there could be projection, there could be external withdrawal, or external projection, internal withdrawal. This really is an invitation for the masculine collective to confront their shadow around control and abandonment and fear of losing the divine feminine. And so we're at a very karmic check-in. I want to say checkpoint, check-in. And is the divine masculine willing to transform and meet the divine feminine in her full authenticity? That's really what's in question today, I feel. So this, to me, it does feel like a very high stakes moment for the twins, where things are going to rise to the surface that can no longer be ignored, whether it's about the connection as a whole or in your individual path. But if you find that your connection has been stuck in the loops of hot and cold, runner chaser, this energy is here to break the cycle, right? And there's going to be a rupture, I want to say, or a release, and it's going to catalyze a deep layer of healing. But we both have to be willing to face our shadows. And so we're kind of like in this moment, I want to say, of soul surgery. And we have to burn away everything that's false. And it can feel very volatile, whether you're going through this internally and facing your emotionally intense, reactive behaviors, or this could be where a counterpart is resisting to change and that coming to the surface. But I do feel this is going to be a very liberating transit. That's really what I feel. It's going to be liberating. It's going to feel good because we're going to get through all of the falsities and we're going to get to the truth of this connection. And so all of these energies ultimately are working together to destroy codependency, so we can rewire the patterning within these connections, and these connections can then be grounded in that union of truth and empowerment, right? And so divine feminine, you are invited today to step fully into your power, not from a place of ego, but from a place of deep alignment and truth. And this really is the day, I don't like to say to cut the cords, but to unhook yourself from the illusions, unhook yourself from the programming of martyrdom, and unhook yourself from any toxic dynamics, right? Because you're not here to wait for somebody to choose you. You're not. You're here to choose yourself. And when you choose yourself, that's when you fully activate the next stage of the journey. Divine masculine, you're going to feel that pressure to evolve, not through force, but through truth. And so all of these old ways of avoidance or control or passive longing, they have to die away. And so you are here to go after your own desires, to confront your fears about stepping forward or stepping away, and to do this with integrity. And so I do feel this energy is feeling overwhelming. And I know I speak to a lot of you behind the scenes, and a lot of you feel overwhelmed trying to understand astrology and your birth chart, or trying to keep up with the astrology portion of the messages that I share. And so I have created a free, simple guide to help you learn the basics of your birth chart, 15 basics of your birth chart, to kind of help you follow along with more ease to the astrology portion. So all you got to do is comment down below, free guide, and I will make sure to get you the link to download the free guide. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper, because I did have some tarot insights connected to these transits that I'd like to share before we go further in with the card pulls. And I was shown the Empress with the Eight of Cups again. And so this represents divine feminine power, creation, self-worth, sacred embodiment. And so this is all about knowing your value. This is all about no longer accepting anything less than you know that you deserve. And so the Eight of Cups is really showing you, what do you need to walk away from in order to gain emotional fulfillment? Maybe you have to leave behind a long-held meaning or a long-held belief connected to this journey. But I do feel the mirroring energy of Lilith and Pluto are saying you are also in this energy of a karmic rupture, right? The Eight of Cups is emotional liberation. It's the walking away. It's choosing your evolution over any unhealthy illusions or attachments, right? And so divine masculine, you're probably feeling that Empress energy stepping up, and this is triggering fears of abandonment, right? And I was shown the Eight of Cups energy in reversed for the masculine. And so if you have been passive, or if you have been non-committal in the past, this is a wake-up call, right? Because Pluto is stirring up all of your inner shadows, divine masculine, especially around loss and powerlessness. And so Lilith really is demanding the masculine to confront any parts of himself that cling to the past or avoid that emotional truth. And so this tarot pairing really is signaling a sacred separation or a sacred shift as the divine feminine reclaims her energy, but not out of spite, out of that inner truth, right? This does set the tone for that new foundation. The feminine needs to fully walk away. She needs to depart energetically to set the tone for that new foundation. And with Venus at 29 degrees in Pisces, that pre-Aries ingress, I was shown the Three of Wands with the Six of Cups. And so there could be a little bit of a tender look back, divine feminine. There could be a bit of soul memories, nostalgia connected to these past emotional ties, especially with your divine counterpart. But it does reflect a lot of that Venus and Pisces energy, the romantic energy, the wistful energy, the longing for that sacred union. And the Three of Wands is saying, turn your gaze forward. Look forward. You don't have to chase anymore, right? You don't even have to wait for what it is that you truly desire. You just need to come into alignment. And so this is a huge reflection of an inner transition for the feminine, from that emotional Piscean dream into the Aries fire, I want to say, of self-initiation. Divine masculine is probably reflecting on that nostalgic energy too, or feeling the bond, or dreaming of the divine feminine, and maybe fearing or even sensing her pull away. And the Three of Wands energy for the masculine, as this kind of plays out, I think it's him realizing any delayed action or too long of a delay is going to narrow that window or that opportunity for him to actually step up in this connection. And so we're at a pivotal timeline shift today. We're still feeling the past, right? We're still feeling the past, but the future is now demanding decisive energy, aligned energy. And there's a bittersweet energy, right? There's a bittersweet feeling here, because we're kind of ending one chapter and we're opening up a brand new energetic soul contract here, right? And with that Neptune and Pisces as the background influence here, I was shown the Magician and the Emperor. I feel this represents the feminine in her manifestation power. With Neptune conjunct or near Venus, right? And so these energies will be conjunct Neptune will conjunct Venus. I believe it's on Friday, so in a couple more days, but they're already in a conjunction and they're going to be exact on Friday. And so as this narrows into that 0 point, this is where the divine feminine can harness that dream and turn it into aligned action. This is where magic really becomes reality. And so I think the divine feminine is really awakening to how powerful she really is. And this is all about weaving intention, weaving that emotion and that intention into action and taking that will into manifestation, into manifested form. Divine masculine, there's an emperor energy being reflected. The divine masculine is being called into true divine masculinity, structure, responsibility, and divine leadership. And remember, the leadership card did come out. I believe it was in Monday's forecast for the divine masculine. And so the Neptune energy, I feel, is challenging him to dissolve the false ego identities in order to truly step into his authentic soul essence. And so together, I kind of feel this connection is a connection of co-creators, right? The twins are here to be grounded co-creators. We are here to be visionaries of love for the future, and we are here to reflect the potential for divine union in the collective, but we do have to align with our higher selves. And so the Neptunian presence, I feel, is softening the edges of the Aries energy. And so we're kind of transcending illusions right now, transcending confusion around who's meant for whom. And I was also shown the star in the judgment card, and this was linked to the vertex and the anti-vertex. So let me zoom in on the vertex and the anti-vertex, okay? So if we see here, we got the vertex way over here. We'll zoom in the 7th house at 17 degrees 20. And the anti-vertex is sitting in the 1st house. Okay, and so this is actually pretty significant. The vertex is connected to fate. It's called the fated point in the natal chart. It's a cosmic doorway where destined people and destined events enter our lives. It's the point of spiritual encounters. And I will attest, I've just had an unexpected spiritual encounter fall into my lap. And so it's interesting, right? And so this could mean soul contracts, new soul contracts, sudden revelations, especially in relationship astrology. The vertex is all about relationship astrology. And then the anti-vertex is always going to be opposite the vertex, exactly opposite. It shows us what we need to release, what we need to outgrow. It can be connected to past karma, outdated identities, or the old ego attachments that are blocking union. And so right now, I feel we're at a destined point of new soul contracts being activated, especially if the counterpart has not stepped up. There's a lot of spiritual light guiding the twins towards union, and we need to have faith in that divine timing. And so we're healing after a long journey of separation, right? And the divine feminine, the vertex energy, I feel, and the star energy coming through for you is a sense of this timeline shift. You feel it, it's near. Follow the signs, the synchronicities, the dreams. There's going to be all kinds of random coincidences over the coming days pulling you towards your destined path. And the star is affirming that your surrender is never going to be in vain, okay? Your light is being noticed by the universe and the divine masculine. And the divine masculine is going to be drawn towards the divine feminine in a very inexplicable way. Even if he's disconnected from the journey, the vertex is acting as that gravitational pull through dreams, sudden memories, a sudden longing, even him possibly seeing the divine feminine's name everywhere. He might not even understand what is happening, but he feels the soul contract being activated. And so right now, the twins are being magnetized together physically and energetically. And there's going to be key catalysts, people, new messages, spiritual breakthroughs arriving to push the connection forward. And the star promises the alignment, promises the renewal and the cosmic redirection. And the judgment card, of course, is the karmic reckoning, right? It's connected to the anti-vertex, I feel. And so judgment is always a representation of the spiritual awakening. It's a representation of answering the call of the purpose and releasing the karmic burdens. And so making those soul level decisions that are going to determine the next chapter. And so divine feminine, I think you're being asked to release the past version of yourself. The one who waited, the one who doubted, the one who fears abandonment. You're in a resurrection moment. You are being called to rise up and to claim your truth. No more looking back. The Judgment card is the final test before the full alignment. Will you trust the calling, divine feminine, or are you going to return to the familiar because you can't really go back? Okay. Divine masculine, you're probably facing some sort of karmic consequences as part of this awakening moment where things are falling apart. There could be a sudden loss or a realization that your whole life has been built on an illusion. And the Judgment card, I feel, is forcing the divine masculine to make a decision that is spiritually weighted, evolve or repeat. Right? We have the choice, evolve or repeat. But this is a wake up call. This is a big, big wake up call. And so I kind of feel the initiation of the fated crossroads where both of the twins are going to receive a divine nudge or a trigger that can't be ignored. And the old timeline has to die away for the destined timeline to merge and to begin. And so union becomes possible when the past is truly buried, right? We have to bury the past, not in pain, but in peace. We have to be in peace. And so there's a lot of integration, right? It's like divine feminine, you've had enough of fantasy, you've had enough of illusion, and you are walking into your future. And I do feel the shadow purge is almost feeling like an emotional exorcism. But hold the divine vision, hold the divine faith, and trust in the inner knowing, okay? Because this day really is a major celestial checkpoint. The soul contract between the twins is asking, are you ready to step into your true self and claim the future that's truly meant for you? So divine feminine, rise from grief into grace. Divine masculine, awaken from avoidance into action. And together, remember the purpose behind the pain, right? The pain always serves a purpose, and love never leaves us, right? Love never leaves us. And so before we dive in to the oracle and the tarot to go deeper into these energies for both the divine masculine and feminine, I do want to remind you, if you are on a twin flame journey and you are seeking that clarity, I have created a 22-page downloadable ebook that can walk you through the stages and the phases and how to navigate the journey like a pro. It is a very powerful tool for anyone walking the path and wanting that divine union. Okay, so with all of that being said, and that was a lot to unpack today, let's pull in with the tarot and the oracle cards, and let's see what spirit wants us to know in the energies today. We definitely have some really beautiful, powerful card pulls today, and the spread overall is a major reflection of the deep transformative energy that the collective is in right now. And so we're going to break it down section by section, and we're going to weave in the astrology because I do have some astrology insights here coming through with each layer of the cards today. So let's start off like always with the Divine Masculine Oracle message that came through, and we do get the card of acceptance, and we kind of see a masculine and a feminine hand there being interwoven in the cosmic ethers, and it is a 4 card, and so it is also connected to the waning crescent moon. And so I do gotta say, today the oracle card really is suggesting that the divine masculine is moving into that internal state of stability, learning to accept where he is on his own personal journey. And the number 4 is a really big echo theme of foundation and structure. It is connected to the Emperor card in the major arcana. And so this is really significant, I feel, as well, connected to the Venus energy moving from 29 degrees Pisces, which is the ultimate surrender, into 0 degrees Aries, which really is an energy, I have to say, of radical self-acceptance. And so I do feel the masculine is accepting his emotions. He's tried to suppress them, and I do think he's realizing that, hey, this connection, it is not going away. And the waning crescent energy is supporting that release. And I do feel a lot of inner reflection. And so this card really is the perfect mirror of the Plutonian influence on the masculine's subconscious mind. And so Divine Feminine, I absolutely loved the card that came out for you. It is the card of blossoming, and we did just have that Taurus new moon. As you can see on the card, it is a 33 card. It is connected to the flower moon. Divine Feminine, you are in full activation mode. 33 is a master teacher number. And I do have to say, this is signaling that you are becoming that beacon of self-mastery and radiance. I just love it. It's like you're resonating that soul frequency, that soul song. And the flower moon really ties into the themes of rebirth and growth and aligning with the star and the judgment symbolism that came through in the astrology. You are no longer in waiting mode. You are just blooming, you're blossoming. And you have you've been meaning to do this, I feel, for a long time now, is really what that feels like. Just blossoming abundance is what I heard, okay? And so the card between the two of the counterparts, in between them, we do get the combined energy of growth. And there is a 5 on the card, and it is also connected to it's connected to the waxing crescent. I thought it was waning crescent. I don't have my glasses on, so pardon me. But I do feel this is mirroring that Pluto, Lilith square energy playing out. And so there's like a necessary discomfort here that is leading to a massive evolution. And we see the time clock there, if you see it on the card. And so something about divine timing and change, right? 5s represent change. It's also linked to the Hierophant card. And so the number 5 is all about challenges. It's all about change. There could be a challenge connected to a belief system here, or just breaking free from an old cycle. The twins really are being both called to outgrow the old versions of themselves and the outdated roles that they've played connected to societal expectations and standards. And this could include releasing victimhood, martyrdom, and even a little bit of fear, okay? And so the bottom of the deck was pretty interesting too, because we did get the trust card. And so there is a need to trust as we go through these changes. It's a 32 card, which is also an indicating number of change and struggles. But you are divinely protected as you go through these changes and this evolution. And so I just want to quickly touch base. There is a need to balance your thoughts with your emotions. And so integrating the head and the heart is a big theme as well coming through. And I want to say self-reflection. So let's break down the tarot spread, and we will start with the divine masculine. And so we do get the Lovers. And so this is really saying that the divine masculine soul is at a crossroads. He's being confronted with the choice to align with unconditional love and truth, or he can choose to remain in illusion. That's completely up to him, right? We all have free will on the journey. But this is a clear sign that the divine masculine is feeling this connection very, very intensely right now. The next card out, we get the High Priestess. And this is the fear of the unknown, I feel. This is the fear of that deep internal pull towards the feminine. I also feel he's sensing the divine feminine blossoming, and it is really triggering a lot of mystery and possibly even anxiety in the divine masculine. It's like his intuition is waking up, but he might not trust it yet. Then we go into the Ace of Cups in reversed, and this is releasing a false or unreciprocated love connection, possibly a karmic connection being released, or even just releasing emotional denial. But I do feel this does align with the Mars-Pluto tension from the weekend, and this is breaking free from any type of emotional entrapment is what that feels like. And then the Two of Wands reverse, it just felt like a gut punch, like the rug got pulled out. A rug got pulled out feeling when this card came out. And I think he's lost in decision, or he could be reeling from a timeline collapse is what this feels like. And so perhaps a plan didn't work out, or he's realized he really has no control over how quickly the divine feminine is growing now. And then the Five of Wands in reverse. I do feel the masculine may withdraw from any external conflict. I think he's trying to avoid drama at all costs. And he's probably preparing to move out of that ego-driven competition and dropping the mask, right? So let's talk about the divine feminine. Nine of Swords in reversed is the first card out for you. And so you, I feel, are purging that final layer of worry, that final layer of self-doubt, as you step into that Venus and Aries fiery energy. This is the movement where you stop waiting and you really start choosing yourself. And then the Judgment in reverse really brought forward a very heavy echo of the anti-vertex energy for me. And so there's a karmic loop, there's a false identity or an old story here that really needs to go, divine feminine. And this is a second chance at liberation for you. And I think you're kind of sensing it intuitively. And then we go right to the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. This is what I feel you are healing. You're healing the urge to settle for breadcrumbing. This is a test. This is a test, divine feminine. Do you repeat the slow burn of disappointment, or do you demand that alignment is really what I feel this card is saying today, connected to the divine feminine, because we do get the Queen of Cups, which is saying you are in that full heart centered embodiment. You're just waiting for that life partnership to sneak up behind you, because we got the two dolphins about to sneak up behind you. You're pouring into your own cup. You're only going to give out of that overflow is what this is feeling like. It's like you are seeing yourself as nurturing, as wise, as loving, but you are no longer going to overgive. This is your superpower right now, is the Queen of Cups energy. And then the last card out for you, the Tree of Life. This is actually a very rare and powerful pull. It is a bonus card in this Tarot of Dreams deck. This is your next step to walk the path of your divine blueprint. And so legacy, mission, truth, moving beyond any romantic stories and stepping into that full soul mission. Beautiful, beautiful energies today. Let's talk about the combined energies on the bottom row. This is the combined energies of the connection, and the Seven of Swords in reverse is saying, hey, it's time for that radical honesty, to release the old lies, to release the hidden feelings, to release the avoidance. This is all being unearthed, okay? This is a clear sign to clear the air, or the universe will force the truth to light, okay? And the twins are both healing from heartbreak, right? And so we got major, major here in the mirroring energy above, and this is healing from heartbreak, healing from disillusionment. There could be exhaustion, pure and utter exhaustion here. as all of these illusions get dismantled, right? But there's a sacred pause. There is an integration here happening. The Ten of Cups reverse. This is, I feel, that ideal version of that union needs to collapse because, let's face it, this is not very romantic if you think about it, right? And so there's an illusion here being dismantled to make room for what real soul fulfillment is within relationships, okay? Knight of Wands reversed. I had to sit with this one for a minute because I think this is clearly saying time-sensitive energy. Time-sensitive. The doorway is open right now. But if you hesitate or if you play into fear, the door could close. And so this is saying bold action is required. You better just take action right now and don't overthink it too much. Just take that action if your intuition is guiding you, because I do feel union is possible. But with the Eight of Coins that came out in reversed, there's a solid offer here that's being blocked due to fears of failure is what this feels like today, or unworthiness, or not being ready, or maybe I don't have enough to offer. And so when I look at the bottom of the deck, this kind of all makes sense, right? Because we got some pretty significant energies here with the Two of Cups. Like the Two of Cups is screaming union, right? But the Four of Wands in reverse is saying you're so close to union, but yet there's a misalignment here, and there is fear here still creating resistance. But the Two of Cups is really what stands out. And so I kind of feel there's a mirror here going on, right? Because then we get the Palace of Coins in reversed and the Knight of Cups in reverse. There's a block around romantic expression. There's a block around building a stable union. I do feel that there's a block about receiving some type of apology or love offer. And I do feel there's like a seeing of the soul bond, but there's a lack of stability, I feel. And so there's a desire for union, but I feel there's a lack of grounding. And maybe the masculine is unsure as to how to approach the feminine. There definitely could be fears of rejection here. But the union energy here is present, but it is feeling very, very blocked, right? But the sun is saying clarity is here. Clarity is here. The light is coming in, and the realizations of the truth are going to be on the other side of this fear. So let's talk about the closing cards that I pulled with the Priestess of Light deck. It's kind of like the spiritual advice, okay? So we did get the go with the flow card. It's a 25 card. So there is like a Knight of Wands energy, like act now, and I love it. Look at the spiraling in the mind. And so there's a letting go, there's a cleansing, there's a receiving, there's a releasing in order to receive. And so allow the divine path to unfold and surrender to the timing of the journey, right? Because below, on the bottom of the deck, there was that soul radiance card. This is all about the Phoenix rising. And so there's like a Knight of Wands, Knight of Swords energy. Things are moving fast. The two fastest knights in the deck, okay? Energy. This is the rebirth. This is the death of the old self, the rise of the new embodiment for both of the twins, for both of the counterparts. The feminine is the one that leads by becoming radiant, unapologetically radiant. And so I do feel the connection really is at a pivot point. We get the clarity card, another 5 cards. So it's like the card of the eagle, but we see the feminine face. And so releasing illusion, right? Rising above the illusions. And so we're really at a pivot point in the energies today, where the feminine is no longer waiting, but choosing herself. And the masculine is feeling the urgency to take action, but caught in an emotional and spiritual recalibration. And the connection is going through a karmic wash, preparing for the alignment, but only if both of the twins can meet together honestly, right? That's really what this is saying today. So if you would like to go further with me with the twin flame synastry chart reading, please do feel free to check out the links below. Go ahead on over to the webpage. A twin flame soul synastry reading does include the tarot cards as well, and this reading is done on Google Meets, and I record the meeting, and after the meeting we upload it. It's a one-on-one interaction with me, and the reading will be uploaded for your viewing later, that you can watch as many times as you want with a private YouTube link. So if you're ready, if you're really ready to dig into your twin flame journey and you're seeking that guidance, you're seeking those answers, book in a twin flame reading. Otherwise, I'm going to leave that here, and I do hope to see you all again next time.